The CIA recently declassified a book that says all of humanity will soon be wiped out in a global cataclysm. What really trips me out is that the events outlined in this book actually gives reasonable explanations to history's greatest mysteries, such as Antarctica, the lost city of Atlantis, the pyramids all around the world, Stonehenge, Easter Island, the forgotten Pacific continent of Mu, the list goes on. And virtually every religion in ancient folklore and history talks of a catastrophe that resets the entire world, like the famous Noah's Ark, the hurricane flood of the Mayans, the Sumerians had the flood in Gilgamesh, and all written completely independent of each other and all prophesizing that it will happen again, aka Judgment Day. Same goes for the legends of the pyramids and all these ancient structures all around the world. Each of these cultures have an almost identical story of some greater being coming down and building these monuments for them, despite these ancient civilizations being tens of thousands of kilometers apart and never coming into contact with each other. And not a single one of them actually taking credit for these incredible achievements themselves. I don't know about you, but if I was some great civilization that built something as incredible as the pyramids, I would definitely want to be flexing on everyone about it. But these stories of the pyramids and worldwide floods, remnants of our advanced ancestors, pass on to the Stone Age of the next civilization of humans. And again, the book that outlines these events has been dismissed by everyone as pseudoscience. But as we've seen, especially lately, the difference between pseudoscience and science is usually just time. This book was classified by the CIA up until 2013, so were they trying to hide something from us? Adam and Eve's Story is a book written by former US defense contractor Dr. Jan Thomas. Originally written in 1966, the CIA classified it because they deemed it too dangerous to reveal to the public. It was declassified back in 2013, and it puts all of their UFO reveals from 2020 to shame. Of the original 284 pages, only 58 were actually released, and even those were admitted by the CIA themselves to be sanitized. Okay, this is about to be some next level shit, and I'm warning you, this got me pretty shook. So this book outlines a coming shift in the Earth's poles that creates a cataclysm. It's the infamous pole shift, if you've ever heard of it before, and it allegedly happens once every 12 to 15,000 years, in which a disaster wipes out all of humanity and we start again in the Stone Age, or even earlier in our timeline of biological evolution. Now, I know this sounds pretty crazy, but let me tickle your brain for a sec. According to this book, we're actually the 6th advanced civilization to evolve on Earth, which actually checks out if you consider that life in some form has existed on Earth for billions of years. And our modern civilization only started appearing around 12,000-ish years ago, which is less than 0.01% of our evolutionary timeline, which could also be the reason that archaeologists occasionally find advanced human tools that far predate our alleged 12,000-year history. Evidence such as this is always dismissed as inconclusive because of how uncommon they are, which doesn't even make any sense because the further you go back in time, the less likely it is that artifacts of our past should be preserved, right? So evidence like this being uncommon should be expected. But right now I'm going to show you exactly what's going to happen. But this isn't the first time this theory was published. 10 years before the Adam and Eve story, Charles Hapgood wrote Earth's Shifting Crust. It discussed continental drift, which was first dismissed as pseudoscience but then later proven right. He then released The Path of the Pole, in which he suggested that Earth's poles are constantly moving, which was again initially deemed false but then proven true many years later. Notice a pattern here? This book also states that there occurred a rapid shift of the Earth's poles sometime around 10,000 BC, which is also the start of our current civilization, in which the North and South poles both rapidly shifted to different parts of the world. What the Adam and Eve story claims is that this shift was supposed to happen again around the year 2000, so according to it, we're overdue. This book describes in detail what will happen during this shift, and it's far worse than any apocalypse I've seen in a movie before. I'm talking history's biggest earthquakes, tsunamis, tornadoes, hurricanes, volcanoes erupting all everywhere at once. The North Pole would eventually locate to the Bay of Bengal east of India. Meanwhile, Antarctica would eventually unfreeze and emerge with tropical foliage, meaning that Antarctica may have actually been habitable in the past, which would actually explain all the strange pyramids and ancient structures that they've allegedly been trying to hide over there.